Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Amy and I am going to do a flip through today of my newest journal, and I just finished it over the weekend, and I've worked really hard on this one and it's taken me quite a bit of time, but I'm excited to have it done and I wanted to show it to you guys and I hope you like it. This is very similar in some ways to the journal that I made for Emily. If you saw that video that I recently did, you'll notice that the cover is very similar and some of the inside is similar and a lot of it is different as well. So this one will be in my Etsy shop for anyone who's interested, and I'll give you a few of the details and all the specifics will be listed, of course, in the Etsy listing, and I will have my Etsy shop link down below so you can go there if you'd like to see the details. But it is about 9 by 6, and I didn't measure the spine, but it's probably, I guess, about 2 inches. This is soft covered, it's quilted, and it's quite thick, so there's a lot in here, guys. I was going to keep it simple and try to make it small, but somehow I did not succeed in that. So this is, like I said, quilted fabric. It's a hidden signature, or 2 signatures, and it's a hidden spine, so you can't see the stitching out here. On the back, I do have this tea-stained floral fabric that I've stitched to the cover. It's tied with some blue linen, and I've added some lace on the cover as well. So I'll show you inside, and there is a lot of stitching in here, a lot of fabric, a lot of detail, and I hope you enjoy it. So inside, I've got these vintage botanicals that I like to use as the signature covers, and I have reinforced the edges of them with some lace and fabric so that it does not tear when you're turning the page, because it's not very thick. Over here I've got a journal card, and it's got tea-stained paper stitched to the back. So the front and back have this thick crocheted pocket. You can fill that with a lot of things. And so I'm just going to go through and show you what's in here. In this lace pocket, I've just put some vintage papers with a gold paper clip that you can use throughout the journal. I'll just do that later because it takes a little bit of time. I've got a lot of botanicals in here, lots of lace, eco-dyed pages, and here I've got an envelope, and inside I have a piece of floral botanical stationery that you can do extra journaling on. And here's the back side of that with some stitching of some blue thread. And then I've got the hinges that I use to hinge pages together. I've left them pretty visible, so that adds a lot of detail. I really like that. So here the same thing. There's that floral fabric with some different blue fabric to hinge pages together, and it gives a lot of interest, I think. Some Edith Holden, and this is tea stained. And this is one of my favorite parts, this fabric in here, and the fringe hanging off. This is a rose stationery that I've tea stained. And then on the back side, I have added a quote from a vintage book, and this is a vellum botanical. And here I'm not sure if you can see it, but I don't know if you can see that, if it's focusing, but there is a little piece of rickrack there for some interest, and vintage dictionary pages, and some handmade paper with some lace and fabric, rose fabric stitched there. Another vintage botanical. And like most of my journals, well, all of my journals are, there's a lot of vintage in here, a lot of found, a lot of recycled things that I use, and everything is pretty much vintage or stained, and also just very pretty and botanical. This is some vintage wallpaper that I've stitched to some tea stain paper with a bit of lace on the edge, so you could journal in that, and that's a nice side pocket. And here, when you flip it over, you've got a booklet with a lot of paper that you can do some extra journaling on. This is that great school grade book from kindergarten, and I think it's from the 60s, 50s or 60s, I can't remember. This is the center of the first signature, and it's a beautiful piece of stationery that I've stitched into a pocket, and I've turned this guest check receipt into a little miniature booklet with some tea-stained grid paper. Lots of journaling space in here. Lots and lots of room to write. I like to be able to write in my journals, and I don't like to fill up every space. I just try to coordinate the spaces so they flow nicely. I think that is my favorite part of making a journal. Again, here's some rickrack. On the other side of that, botanical vellum. And then more of that beautiful, this is kind of a soft peachy pink with the fringe on it. And here's some Edith Holden. More tea stained, and you can see the stitching here from the hinge. And again, you've got that, see if you can get a good look at that, you've got that fabricy hinge that's showing, which I just think is so pretty. I think that's one of my favorite things. This one is a paper hinge. And here I've got the other side of that vintage botanical book with some lace as a border. And when you flip it, here's another page from the same book, but this one is actually a booklet, and it's full of pages with some fabric trim, some handmade paper, some Japanese paper, different kinds of grid. Here is the back of the botanical, and inside you've got a little booklet with some tea stain paper on the back, so you've got lots of writing space in there. And here's a great space for writing as well. So in the middle, I was looking for a pen, but I don't think I have one. Well, let me reach down here and see if I can find one. Oh, hold on guys, I'm sorry. Here's a little one. This is not the one I was looking for, but I wanted to show you that there's a little pocket in the middle. It's kind of a fat pen, but you totally can put a pen in there and the journal shuts just fine. So that is a great pocket. I didn't put a pen in here because I figured people would want to choose their own color or style of pen because everybody has their own preference. So signature 2, here's some vintage wallpaper, and I have decoupage on here, and inside you've got just a piece of plain card stationery that you can write on, and this is embellished as well. This is that great really old physics notebook that I found. More florals. This is a beautiful soft floral print. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but it's a very pale floral print. And you've got some fabric hinging in here. More beautiful vintage botanicals. Fabric pocket with a stitched journaling card. Tag, I should say, with some tea stained lace. And some little book page and a lace flower on the edge there. Lots of stitching, if you can see all the stitching around these pages. Again, you have a booklet from a tea stained vintage botanical book, and this has got lots of paper in here that you can write on, with a journaling tag in the middle, or in the pocket, in the middle of the pocket, I guess. Beautiful bluish green lace here with a an envelope that I have embellished and stitched around. Perfect for storing things in. You could put paper in it, you could just leave it as is, you can write on the back of it. Some vintage ribbon as trim. And here you've got a little booklet, and right here is more paper for writing, and then beautiful botanicals, the center of the signature, and on the back there's another booklet. So I think the details of course will be in my listing, but this is about 175 pages, fronts and backs, not including these little booklets. It does include the 2 bigger booklets that I have in here, but it does not include all of these pages. So you actually have way more sides than 175. And here, the back of that lace pocket, just a pretty little botanical, and I've included this beautiful paintbrush that you could dip in your inks, you could dip in coffee. That's what I think Emily does, and you could write in your journal. There's another pocket here that you could put a pen or a pencil or another paintbrush. Here is one of my little pockets made from vintage botanical book, and there is a vintage flashcard that you can leave as is. You can also write on that as well. And this does create a tuck spot, so you can tuck something back here as well. And then in this lace pocket, I've got a collage card that I made, and this beautiful piece of stationery with the envelope. And here we have a little vintage wallpaper booklet. So it just opens up and you've got more paper in there. Let's stick that back in there later. And then in this pocket I've included, this is a beautiful lace fabric, I've included another bunch of vintage papers that you can use to decorate your journal, to collage with. You can tear those, you can write on them, you can use them for another project. The back of that physics paper, it would be neat to write on here and have your own writing compared to this. This was actually a man's writing and it's really pretty, but you could have your own writing on there and it would look really neat. Lots of journaling space here above the decoupaging. And here is the back of the journal with another crocheted pocket, and then I have made this booklet from that rose stationery that's tea stained. When you open it up, you've got lots of more pages of that little kindergarten school book. So, put that wallpaper pocket back in a minute, but here it is, guys. This one is full. There's a lot in here, and like I said, this will be listed in my Etsy shop soon. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Bye.